They'll be looking for his red flag to go up. He'll be starting the most red flag dropping.
Go!
And off they go. Edinburgh University on the left-hand side had an incredibly tough race against Goldie yesterday. Absolutely explosive and brave. Right-hand side, University of Washington. And as they come out the start, they're both crews flying out. Good, clean start.
As we've seen in the previous heats of this for the Prince Albert Challenge Cup, the Americans, their slightly slower rate of striking off the start, 46 strokes a minute compared to Edinburgh's 50. Edinburgh shortened it up ever so slightly, but Edinburgh current record holders in this event for the Prince Albert Challenge Cup, so there'll be an intimidating crew to be drawn against for this quarter-final. But University of Washington, USA certainly weren't the slowest in the previous round here, but they're not quite keeping their nose out in front in this early stage, which we have seen a lot of the Americans do. They do a slightly slower rate of striking off the start, 45, 46 strokes a minute, and they get their nose out in front with that length. But Edinburgh are showing that the other style of rowing here, or starting, can pay off too, and they are maintaining a really high rate of striking here and managing to really build on that lead. They're still up at 39 strokes a minute, and they haven't strode into their race pace yet. University of Washington have strode down ever so slightly to 39 as well, so they're stroke for stroke. But the power through the water in that Edinburgh boat just shows how they are really giving it some grunt and building on that lead despite having the same rate as the Americans.
Yeah, and I think they're doing that, Pete, if you watch by that way they're opening their bodies. Watch particularly the two-man. He's wearing the red cap and the blue strip on the far side, and he is doing a beautiful open out with his body, which with these big, heavy Cox boats does really help. And pushing it on now, we've got both crews.
You can hear the coxswain in the Washington boat here. He's looking across. He didn't like being behind, and you can hear on the speaker there she was calling for more. Lisa Caldwell, she really noticed that they were starting to drop back, and she reacted quickly. Didn't like that much whatsoever, and that has paid dividends. That little power 10 or power 15 looked as though it started to really get them back on terms with Edinburgh. It's not great falling behind in the early stages, and that was just what they needed to get back on terms. Yeah,
University of Washington, they live near that big lake in Seattle. They've got opening day, one of their fantastic events, and they do a lot of side-by-side racing. So this won't be unfamiliar for them. The Henley Strip will be unfamiliar, but they understand about match racing. And right now we're looking at these wonderful pictures. We've got Edinburgh University on the right-hand side. We're looking University of Washington on the left-hand side. This is a quarter-final, the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. Both these crews will be looking to book their place tomorrow, and we know that Edinburgh had a really tight race yesterday. They talked about it being harder than we expected. They want to take it one race at a time, and they know that they are very confident in racing twice a day, but at the moment Edinburgh need to keep moving and keep toughing it out as they did yesterday, because they are being led by the University of Washington. They've made a fantastic move. They've got put into their rhythm. That's fantastic. That's a good section from the American crew.
What a burn there from the University of Washington. They've got themselves out in front. They've strode back down into the race rhythm that they want to race, back to 34 strokes a minute. Edinburgh still up at 39. Two very different styles of rowing here. One very high rate of striking, and the other slow, slightly longer, slightly more powerful. But it needed a burn there in the American boat to get themselves out in front. Edinburgh will need to react soon. We're coming up towards Upper Thames, and if they don't do something soon, the moral impact of not being able to see the crew alongside you could be devastating for them as they come into the closing stages, as they go past the enclosures.
Yeah, looking at the progress board there, we see the number 2 going up, indicating it is the lane 2, the Washington crew that's ahead. But I think this Edinburgh crew, they're tough. They absolutely toughed it out yesterday, and they'll be holding on. And looking at these fantastic shots here, we are watching the Bao Pez, Jake Zera and Ed Namin Lux Moore of the Washington crew, and they will be pleased with their work through this middle section of the course. They are making that look like a coxless boat. They are moving it so far and so fast per stroke. It's like Lisa Caldwell is not there, although I'm sure she is there, and she made that call at the absolute perfect time to give her crew this advantage. And I'm wondering, Edinburgh University broke the record yesterday. Did they just have to have that fight with Goldie that has given them tired legs today?
Well, the funny thing, looking at how the University of Washington beat Newcastle University yesterday, they did it in 3 1/4 lengths. So it makes me now think that they really weren't pressured when they set a time yesterday of 7:14. But now they felt the pressure from Edinburgh's quick start. They didn't like being behind as they went past the barrier. And now coming up towards the closing stages, they've really thought, okay, we need to adapt our race strategy slightly. We need to get out in front from behind, and they're showing some serious strength here. They're striking 34 to Edinburgh's 38. So Edinburgh's still going for a high rate of striking. They're the record holders and are now dropping behind to over a length.
Yeah, UW, as their fans will be calling them, they are looking really, really strong now. They're looking like they're really pressing the boat very, very flat and very smoothly, and that is returning great boat speed. Watching the bow ball, the number 474, you can see it surging on each stroke, and as the crowds come, as the cheers come, they are going to get even more energy, because they have done their work in the middle part of the race. They got out, had a clean start, perhaps settled, did not like being behind at the barrier, and that big pull happened, and now we have them pressing up through to the finish. It is the Washington crew that look fantastic, and Edinburgh, what a race yesterday, but you know, giving it everything. But at the moment it is all about the American crew.
And they were arguably favourites for this event, so it was surprising to see the time that they did yesterday. But we've got in this boat the previous winner of the Princess Elizabeth Challenge Cup, Ed Nameby Luxmore, who's in the 2-seat of the boat. He won with Eton College in 2009 and 2010, so he's no stranger to this stretch of water, and I can guarantee you that he's been casting an opinion amongst that crew to say this is where we need to be doing things, these are some of the key stages down that course, and sharing his experience to really make that known and allow them to benefit from it, which they're exactly doing that.
Absolutely, that Eton boat, stroked by Constantin Lulodis, who we'll see in the Grand later on, and yeah, absolutely amazing when you have got that experience and you can start talking about this Henley course, because it has worked for this Washington crew. They have made a decisive move, and coming through now, they're taking the applause of the crowd. They'll be very, very pleased. Lisa Caldwell just having a look for that finish line there, and it is University of Washington that have beaten the record holders, Edinburgh University, and booked their place for the semi-final later on today.